Theresa Kerr, who taught Caroline at her performing arts school from the age of 16. And you and your daughter remained close friends, didn't you?
Yes, indeed.
With her, and Richard Arnold, of course, is here as well. Plus, of course, we've got the former Strictly Come Dancing professional and also Caroline's friend, Kristina Rihanoff, who joins us from Devon. Good morning to you, Kristina.
Morning, Christine.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, everyone.
On a really difficult morning, I know, for anybody who knew Caroline. Theresa, can we just come to you first, if that's OK? I mean, we just saw there, she worked hard. My goodness, she worked hard for her success. It was not handed to her on a plate.
No, she had a terrific work ethic, actually. And, of course, she came at 16, so to train. And she had stars in her eyes then, but we could spot the talent.
Could you?
Oh, really? You could see she had star quality?
Yeah,
really?
without question. Straight away.
Yeah.
She auditioned because she wanted to become a musical theatre artist. And she had a good voice, which was never really used later in her career. Yeah. I know. Yeah. And you can spot it. But she lived with my daughter Jane throughout her training, so she was supported at that time. It's very important that students are supported within their training, because actually dancers in particular have low self-esteem.
Why?
Because it's never quite good enough. You know, we're all perfectionists in this industry,
yes,
and you're always striving for the next thing.
Did you ever pick up, in those early years, any sign of her problems? I mean, she herself talked about her awful anxiety, which only ever really went away when she was performing. Did you see any of that in the teenage?
Not really, but I see it all the time, because, you know, young girls and boys training, as I said, there are mental health issues all around us. It was a bit less then, I want to say, than it has become now. Because
of social media? It's
absolutely social media, and, you know, in a way, you grow up in that spotlight as a young professional. It becomes very, very difficult.
You can never escape it either, you know, it follows you home now, which it never used to do before. I mean, for me personally, you look at someone like Caroline and the huge success she had, and as you say, she was a grafter, she worked very much for it. It was the fragile nature of her vulnerability, that drew people to her as well.
You mean they could sense it?
They could sense it.
That's true.
It felt like one of us, you know, one of the punters or the public watching at home.
Theresa, I mean, you know, when they obviously, you know, people will say, not necessarily about Caroline, but just in general about Twitter, about being in the papers, about all of that sort of stuff. Listen, that's just part and parcel of being famous. If you want to be famous, you've got to get a thick skin and you're going to have to deal with it. I mean, have we got to change our attitude in terms of how much of your public life and how much of your personal life you feel like you have to constantly reveal in order to stay relevant, in order to keep young people wanting to watch you?
Well, it's the nature of the beast, and we are encouraged as talent, if you like, to engage with the audience, and that engagement goes beyond, obviously, just performing.
Well, she was a natural TV artist.
Oh,
I mean, you felt, you know, some people are just complete naturals, and the young people identified with her.
Well, let's bring in Kristina Rihanoff now, down in Devon. Kristina, hi, thanks for joining us this morning. I mean, you must be heartbroken. You knew her really well.
Thank you for having me.
I read one thing yesterday, which
we worked on Strictly Come Dancing.
Yes, I read one thing yesterday that I didn't know until yesterday, which was the morning after, and Caroline said this herself, this is from her, the morning after she won Strictly, you think she would have woken up with joy in her heart. But she said she woke up unable to get out of bed. She said she felt like she'd been cling-filmed to the bed, and it was the beginning of a year-long depression. Did you spot any of that when you were working with her on the show, or when you toured with her? Could you see that there was this very dark side to her?
Sadly, it's a yes to this question, because during the show, she always appeared so bubbly, so sweet, happy, and everybody loved working with her because she was just always very sweet and very nice to everybody, always has a smile on her face. But when you're touring, especially, which we did right after Strictly Come Dancing, and it's 2 months of intense work on the road, there was many conversations, and a couple of times she missed going on stage because she was battling a lot of inner conflict, and the conversations happens if you wish, you know, between two ladies, and obviously we sat down and spoken, and you can see that she has a lot of insecurities, a lot of vulnerability, which I think not really was known to the public that much. And it's so sad to what really happened, because there should have been someone like a life coach or somebody who can really help And it's so sad to see that she had no way out. She couldn't see a way out. It's just heartbreaking for her family and for herself. And even at that time, all these years ago, 4 years ago, I thought, gosh, I really hope just somebody will help, you know, somebody will stand by her in those dark moments, because we all knew her beautiful personality, beautiful smile, but behind closed doors there was a lot of demons, sadly, and you know, it's what led to what happened just a few days ago. It's heartbreaking, really, and I'm heartbroken for her family.
And Kristina, as somebody who's been in the public eye, you've been in the newspapers, you've had things probably said about you, I imagine. You know, lots of people,
yes,
you know, perhaps might say, well, just don't read the comments. Why do you have to read the comment? I mean, can you just explain, you know, as a performer, as somebody who sort of, I suppose, as anybody in your stratosphere, you need feedback. That's how you know whether you're doing well. How do you manage not to look at the things on Twitter said about you or social media or whatever? Because people will be wondering how, because we've got young people coming into the industry all the time. What do they do?
It's extremely hard not to look online, not to read those things, because at the end of the day, we're all human. We want to know what other people think about us. We are exposed over there. We come out, we want to perform, we want to be known and respect of what we do as professionals. And nobody wants to be under personal attack. And yes, I've been there with the press and the media and online trolling, and I fully understand how Caroline feels. Unfortunately, sadly, I have experienced a very, very dark place. And I think with her, it was just a matter of time, really, what would actually happen. And, you know, we all have feelings. That's what I think people forget. You're not sort of some sort of creature who just doesn't have any feelings when you read something about yourself. And it was just overwhelming what was happening to her. It was every single step of the way, so much scrutiny, so much abuse online. Nobody really protected from something like that, from having those dark thoughts and
it's not
feeling
just,
there is no way out.
And we ought to say, I mean, and speaking for a great many people here, it's not just online. I mean, there is this symbiotic relationship between what you call the old school media, mostly the tabloids, and the internet,
yes,
and social media platforms, and they kind of feed off each other. And that's something which we've really got to address, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a necessary evil in some respects. As I say, we are encouraged to engage, and more so than others, when you reach the sort of height of fame as Caroline did, you know, it's extraordinary being in that fishbowl. Anyone who's ever done Strictly will tell you that. And for the most part, it's a very warm community. But unfortunately, the headlines are drawn to those people who troll, the keyboard warriors that we hear so much about these days, these horrendous, unfettered comments that people can post, and they're not policed. And to me, that it makes my blood boil.
Yeah. And she said in an interview, when she only spoke last year, I think she gave more details about the depression she'd felt after winning Strictly. I mean, which to most people seems incongruous. How can you win the biggest show on telly and then feel depressed for a year? But she said, people see the celebrity lifestyle and assume everything is perfect, but we're just like everyone else. Everyone is battling something emotional behind closed doors. She's not wrong. That's life. Fame doesn't make you happy. And Theresa, to you, you hear Caroline saying that, and we're talking about her after her death at the age of 40, for all her issues that she had and all her success. What do you say? You go back into your school today, the students there, they will have admired and wanted to emulate Caroline.
Yes.
What do you say to them this morning?
To them. She was due to come in and talk to the students, actually. Yes.
When was that?
She was due to come in soon. The thing is, she was very supportive of us, and I spoke to some of her year group yesterday, and they all said that you make friends for life at college, obviously, but she never, ever left that. All the celebrities, she still maintained the friendships, and indeed with us, with our family.
And if you could choose just one memory, one image of the happy times with her, what would it be? How would you like to remember her?
Well, obviously, she was happy at college. We did the usual things at college, the shows. She was very happy on stage. Her comfort zone was actually in performance.
In performing, yeah.
So she was always going to climb to the heights.